GM. What's up? Twitter, X. We have a space with 2 Raphaels. So this must be a good space.
Game guys, let's see so many people here already.
Yo, Ham. Hey,
How you?
River Tom. Okay, let's get going. Thank you all for joining me. We have a light agenda, but spicy. And then we also have some nice announcements. So let's kick it off. There's a proposal on the forum at the moment, and our very own Tom Sawyer, master of the axis and of proposals, has asked to receive a revenue share of USD in compensation for the work he's doing to further the space and being active in governance. And maybe, Tom, if you could, then you could probably present it better than I do.
Hey, yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so the proposal is that I put up on Monday was for a part of the revenue share for 3% for the work that I'm doing on governance as well as in the marketing department of building the brand presence online. And there was quite a lot of feedback in the sense of we support Tom getting compensated for his work, but the question is how. And so this is I think probably one of the, I think for the most part, like in the reserve ecosystem history, we haven't really had proposals that have went up where there's been a lot of disagreement. There's always kind of been a consensus in the RToken history, but I think this is the first time where there's some people that are hesitant to get behind the proposal, and that's understandable. But the hesitancy comes from how should I be compensated, which is pretty interesting. So I definitely want to be able to open up the floor to at least the people who voted against it or have come out and saying that no, this is not the responsibility of the DAO for you to receive compensation. It's Confusion Capital's responsibility to pay you. And so I'll kind of end with this point that I was thinking about. It's who's the main beneficiary to kind of the work that I'm doing? Is it Confusion Capital? I mean, sure, they like indirectly benefit from the work that I'm doing, but is it Ugly Cash or Sense? I mean, to an extent, they also benefit, but when you're looking at a proposal that's directly increasing the yield profile of EUSD, who's the direct beneficiary of that? And that would be the DAO. And so it's definitely an interesting conversation where whatever the result is, there's probably going to be some people that disagree with it. So I think that's the beauty of decentralization. And yeah, I definitely hope there's some people that are listening that may not be in favor, and I definitely want to let them voice their opinion. But yeah, that's more or less the kind of the main proposal this week. So
Thank you, Tom. That's that's very insightful, and I love that you are so thoughtful about this approach. Like just in terms from governance process perspective, your proposal has received a pretty unprecedented amount of votes in the forum poll, and 80% of those are in favor. So, like, this is more than enough to move it on chain. As I've known from my own sometimes painful experience, on chain can be a very different story than temp checks, even if the temp checks are token voted. So I think it's very good that you are so thoughtful about it and are trying to work through the feedback of how else this could be done, or if the proposal needs to be amended. And I'm not sure. I mean, in the crowd we have here on this space, is there anybody who has like objections to this proposal and would like to air them here? Then please raise your hand. I'm more than happy to make you a speaker.
I'd probably just like to pitch in here as well. Definitely not against Tom being kind of compensated for his contribution to the kind of RToken ecosystem with the governance. And it's a very good kind of lens to frame it through, Tom, like who benefits from your kind of continuous work on the RToken. And I think it's not only that you're kind of contributing RFCs to increase the yield, but also you're thinking from a safety point of view as well. So not all RFCs will be kind of yield based. It could be kind of, oh, should we swap this collateral out because of the risks? And then with that frame, you're also thinking about the RSR kind of stakers as well, because they're first loss capital. We want to kind of protect them, or like you want to protect them as well. So I think it's a good lens to frame the argument, and I think everyone benefits from your continued input.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up as well, the safety aspect of it. And yeah, no, I see River in the crowd, and he was actually one of the first people in favor. And I wouldn't mind getting him on the stage and just kind of seeing, what if he's seen the responses, and if he's kind of had a change in mind, or kind of what he's thinking, if he can, of course. But yeah.
I've sent River a invite to speak. I'm not sure if he has responded yet or not, but if he wants to get on stage, he can.
USD is so over collateralized. Like, if we want, we could roll back this change later if collateralization goes to a negative, well, like is so heavily impacted that it starts to not make sense anymore. But the benefits of this proposal are really, really strong, and the fact that it kind of continues into perpetuity unless we change it, which is a big advantage against, say, a fixed grant, are really, really high. I understand why some people have their reservations, but if the grant isn't going to be rolled out in a way that kind of like aligns with what Tom needs to get this done, then we need to think of an alternative mechanism. What's a good mechanism to do this? Revenue split. What can use some kind of, well, everything comes at a cost, right? Stake a revenue over collateralization and so on and so forth. There are different ways to achieve this goal, but this to me feels like the best one to do it at the moment. And if we don't like it, it'll only take, 2 weeks to undo it again. Sure, that will be a difficult thing. Governance cycles and offboarding are always complicated, but it's a really, really elegant solution to a problem that we really should address and get moving. I don't feel like changing my opinion because I want to give Tom the benefit of the doubt and to kind of walk that back in due time if necessary. It's not going to be a hard thing to do. I think we should get moving, essentially, even with the criticism. There's always criticism. That's what being in a DAO is.
Yeah, totally. I think that's a really good point. I mean, I think that's kind of the brutal part about DAOs making decisions is that you kind of get the full decision making process and not just the result.
Yeah, I was recently bidding for my Llama Risks renewal this week with Ava. It was a very, very complicated process. There was a lot of back and forth. We didn't essentially get what we wanted to begin with, but we got something that we're satisfied with, and it's all about compromise.
Exactly. And I think that's what kind of Tom wanted to to navigate is like what kind of compromise would make it more palatable, right? And I'm not sure, like at StableLab, what we have done that usually like is reduce price a little bit, and then like people feel that like sometimes it's just people want to feel heard, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll go down with the price a little bit, or I'll change this or that a little bit, or I'll do the other extra, and then they feel like they've made a difference, or they made a difference, and then it's kind of fine. So that's sometimes a path that's open, but it's very difficult to do if you don't know exactly what is being asked for. And I think here it's basically James who has been pretty vocal about it, who says like he's not sure what the education mandate is, and basically who's doing it. So maybe this can be addressed. And I think Tom, what's probably good is to just like address these concerns in a way that don't detract from like as they are, and not as like you already said, right? Like they're not arguing that you shouldn't receive compensation, but they are arguing like for something else, and maybe this can be incorporated further down the line. Partly, at least, right?
Yeah, I plan on starting to respond. If not today, then tomorrow, kind of through Sunday, and getting those responses out. And at least to the people that are in support and have caveats, I think addressing those caveats is important. And then for the people, I do plan on addressing James as well. But yeah, I think I do plan on addressing some of the comments. I think it's important. And also, I'll add another thing I was thinking about here is that, this is, even though it's as River pointed out, kind of a simple change or a quick change that can be done or undone. This also kind of sets the precedent of, do we want, like, who is this revenue share for? Is it only for stakers and deployers and RToken holders, or the occasional one-off fintech company that wants to come in and partake in that proposal? Or are we going to open it up to, several different potential individuals who want to add value to the reserve ecosystem? And so I think that's a question that I don't really have an answer to, because I don't know what would be best. But that's another thing we should consider, is that if we vote against this, then there's a precedent that, revenue is only for stakers, deployers, and RToken holders. And I think, I don't know that that's, I mean, maybe that is the best thing for the reserve ecosystem, but that's another angle that I've been kind of thinking about as, okay, well, what's the precedent here with this proposal? So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts.
I mean, that would be one way how you could probably change it is if you say, hey, this is actually not tailored to me, but to the function, and I'm the one fulfilling the function, and I'm happy to share it with whoever like pitches in. So kind of like funding the role that you are doing, and you are currently inhibiting this role, but you might not always want to inhabit the role. Sorry, inhabit, I mean. Or other people might want to come and join you and kind of amplify that.
Yeah, so I think, I'm not sure if there's anyone in the crowd that was fully against this proposal or voted no, but I definitely want to open up the floor again to those individuals.
Okay, seems there's no one here. So yeah, thanks for presenting this, and I think it's really worthwhile to discuss this. Also because it creates, like, what I really like about the proposal, it kind of creates a way for people to show that they're creating value, and then opens up a path for them to become compensated, which is great. Then there's like two proposals that are quite interesting, exploratory in nature, and one is the reserve swap and RUSD, and the other one is the reserve DEX stablecoin, both by James R. Watson. And I have to say, like, I didn't completely understand how this is going to work. He's basically, I think it's like even like a launch pool or something, where basically you lock up a certain amount of tokens in return for liquidity for that token, and he wants to build that on reserve. And I think that's an interesting idea. Of course, the difficulty is always like, why do people use launch pools? And usually it's because it gives them access to more investors, right? Like, I think this is why Binance has been so exceptionally successful in this space. They had this launch pad that was tied on to the Binance chain and to BNB, and like they just crushed it because they had the distribution just figured out, right? And of course, this could be like a similar technology, but the distribution aspect is not like immediately clear. So I just wondered if somebody has some comments to one of these proposals.
Yeah, I think these I've missed these proposals, so I'd need to read through properly, I think, to understand them. Sounds like an interesting idea, but yeah, I don't know how it would work in practice.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, then I just want to point out to everybody that there is a presentation of the Yield Almanac that is happening quite shortly after this. And maybe Jake is here and can tell us a little bit more about it. Episode 4, and it's airing in basically 1.5 hours now.
Yeah, an hour and 39 minutes to be exact. We're gonna have a live stream with Tom and Naga King at Reserve to demo basically how to LP USD3 on Curve in exchange for the base variable APY. So if you're interested in how to do that, or just want to see our beautiful faces, you can join us. There's no way to RSVP, so just at noon my time, an hour and a half from now, you'll see a post on the Reserve X. You can join in and watch and live chat and all that good stuff.
Before we drop off, I've noticed the Origin ETH crowd in the audience. I'd just like to invite them on chain. I'd just like to invite them on stage to discuss the OETH proposals, both for ETH Plus and base ETH. They're currently going through RFCs and developing plugins, and River's been quite active discussing their proposals. So I hope to give them an opportunity to kind of discuss with River live if they want to, just to see where we are.
Yeah, definitely bring them on chain.
On chain, baby.
X on chain, that would be so lit.
Yeah, Peter or Raphael, if you want to come up, hit us up.
All right, sent them both speaker invites too, if they're able to pop on.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, hi, Raphael.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, nice meeting you all. Happy to be here and happy to answer any questions. I don't know if Peter, since Peter wrote the proposal, I don't know if you want to say something. By the way, we also have Domain here who has been working on the adapter. Yeah, we're happy to answer any question.
Hey guys, thanks for bringing this up. Yeah, I think Domain has been working on the plugin for a little while now, but this I think would be pretty beneficial for both Reserve and Origin to have OETH part of ETH Plus and Super ETH part of BSD ETH. River, I'm not sure if you saw my response to your comment on the forum post.
Yeah, I did. How about you run over the benefits just for those who aren't in the loop, maybe, and then we can talk about that afterwards.
The benefits of adding support for the 2 Origin tokens to the 2 Reserve tokens?
Yeah, just start from the ground up. Imagine none of us have any idea what's going on, just to be sure everyone's on the same page.
So OETH and Super OETH, well, I guess OETH has been around for a little while now, but OETH is one of the most pegged, if not the most pegged LSTs, and alongside and parallel to that is also the highest yielding LST on the ETH mainnet. So onboarding OETH to ETH Plus would bring up the underlying yield for ETH Plus. And then alongside that, doing the same for BSD ETH with Super OETH, which currently has an underlying APY of 14.4%, would bring up the underlying yield of BSD ETH to somewhere around maybe 8% from where it's currently at. That is the short version of the 2 proposals. Super ETH is also extremely pegged. I added a screenshot that I recommend everyone take a look at the bottom of my last comment on that proposal that kind of compares it to the other underlying assets of BSD ETH in relation just to how pegged it is. And the reason that we're able to maintain such a high peg like that, or such a tight peg, is largely due to the AMO mechanism behind both OETH and Super OETH, which I think is what a lot of your questions were kind of related to, River. And Raphael on the call right now is can help explain the AMO a little bit better than myself.
Yeah, sure. River, what are your, like, do you want to take over to ask the questions and things like that?
I have a relatively good understanding of AMOs. For those who don't, it's essentially just a set of instructions and smart contracts to let, like, the word AMO is just a fancy word to say, like, a program. If there's certain conditions, then you do this, and if there's other conditions, you do that. It's just smart contract code. It's intention in code. You responded to my questions, and the responses were satisfactory. One thing I would like to remember, though, I would like to remind everyone that with the existing LSTs in based ETH, you can access the underlying ETH through a withdrawal. I looked through your docs. You can't, like, withdraw for underlying ETH, can you? You can only use a DEX to access the underlying. Is that correct?
Yeah, for now that's correct. Like, we're working right now on, like, we have been receiving a lot of messages about this. We should implement, like, I don't know, like, quite fast this part because we implemented this already on mainnet, and SuperWeave uses the same code as OWeave on mainnet. But in order for us to ship things a little bit faster, we decided, like, to deprioritize the asynchronous withdrawals. But we're enabling these, like, probably in the next couple of weeks. So there will be ways for you to get out. Like, yeah, we're hearing the concerns.
Cool. I look forward to seeing those docs. I think I remember you from your MStable days as well. I used to work at DeFi Safety. I think I reviewed you
Oh,
with you back in the day. Or, like,
could
asked you
be.
about it. So, blast from the past, yeah.
Nice.
But otherwise, yeah, you addressed my questions pretty well. So thanks for that.
I have
Yeah. I just wanted to also go into one of your questions, River, like, because I think you mentioned about, like, the pool fees and not being super attractive. I just wanted to say to you that this is by design. If you actually look at the pool that you were comparing us, that on that pool, the fee is 0.3%, and in our pool, the fee is 0.01%. This is because we want all the protocols to pair with SuperWeave, and we want the trades to happen, like, if you want to go to WAF, to not have almost any fee over that, right? So the fees that you use is going to be from your own pool, and we're working already together with the Aerodrome team with some new designs that will be very favorable for anyone who wants to pair with our token.
That's some good context. Yeah, that was something I was wondering about. So thank you for that.
Can I add some, just a couple of more thoughts about redemptions and RAMO?
Sure, go.
Cool. Maybe just one, one cool thing to point out is why what was one of the reasons we chose to basically have AMO as our main redemption mechanism, is that usually similar products, similar yield creating products have their underlying capital in various strategies that deploy it to some protocol or that stake it to the validators. There are multiple ways how to earn yield, and usually those strategies are not completely momentarily liquid. So if you want to withdraw, like 50% or a huge amount of the liquidity from the protocol, there needs to happen some wait. Some wait time is gonna incur, right? If you want to pull your ETH from the validators, you got to exit the validator, wait for the exit queue and all that stuff. And that's usually one of the things that really influences a lot the price peg of a token, because basically the more time that the sort of the native redemption of the token takes, the more it's going to unpack from its one-to-one main asset. And one of the really cool things about the AMO is that we basically have the vast majority of the protocol's liquidity in the same place where it's also earning yield. So meaning, even though it's earning yield, we thought that the protocols are going to feel sort of secure. They can see the exact amount of liquidity for the exact amount of completely pegged price. They can withdraw that liquidity, and that pool, is always there, like the rocket pool ETH. You always see the 18,000 ETH sitting in there, and you can withdraw anytime with a really deep liquidity. And that's sort of like a very similar function that our airdrome DEX pool has, where protocols can see that there's a huge amount of liquidity they can withdraw at a 1 basis point off of the complete peg. Yeah, that's it.
I'll jump in here with some just kind of a thought comment. It might be good to get Nectar involved in these conversations for based ETH, and just kind of bounce some ideas off them as well. Just a thought. But yeah, great explanation from the Origin team.
But thanks, Tom. We're super in to try to help and remove any kind of questions of doubt. So more than happy to take this offline and chat with you guys on Telegram to see how we can address all of the concerns.
Cool. Yeah, I think Ham would be a good person to get in touch with that about.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, thank you. Initially, thank you for coming up and just kind of talking through the RFCs, explaining the RMOs. And it's good to see we're reuniting old friends here with River and Raphael Stable. So it's good to see. I will get in contact with Nectar. I was hoping that they'd kind of pitch in, but maybe they're not aware that proposal's gone live. So I'll do that. And Peter's got a Telegram group, a Telegram chat with me. So maybe we could start a group and kind of just hammer out some things as and when they come up. But more than happy to kind of discuss on these going forward, or I'd prefer things kind of open to the community, really, either through these Telegram, Twitter Spaces, or on the RFC, just to kind of keep it for community participation. But we can see how it goes going forward.
As a perhaps a relevant comment, as these proposals start to get more and more complicated, the forums are going to get more and more cluttered, and the posts that get put up will be more and more polished, with more and more of the work being done privately in DMs. It's just an inevitable way to speed things up, I'm afraid, but we aren't at that stage yet, but at some point I guarantee we will be.
Yeah, it's really funny because I think discourse would really make it much better. The way comments are handled in discourse is just completely makes it just completely impossible to work through complex proposals and complex items with multiple comments and multiple revisions. And I hope to bring out a plugin sometime, because that would really help the space a lot. Or maybe we know somebody who's good at Ruby on Rails and is actually writing this stuff, because I'm pretty sure every DAO would pay for it.
Yeah, it's good to have your guys' kind of opinion. I guess it's kind of trying to find the balance, isn't it, between the community side and things happening in private. But yeah, super excited for you guys to finish your plugins. I think the yield and basket diversification can be a massive benefit, but you just need to weigh up the risks of the additions as well.
Excellent. Any other topics we should discuss, or any questions from somebody in the community? Then please raise your hand and I'll elevate you to speaker. Okay, then wishing everybody a good weekend and a good rest of your day. Thanks for coming on, and thanks to Raphael, Dom, and Peter for the insights, and River for the questions. Thank you all.
Thanks for
All the best.
DMCing. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Have a good weekend, guys. See you next week.